So we're gonna jump into now Yasuke. Okay. So for people who don't know, Yasuke is a real black samurai that existed. Um, and there was an anime made based off of that character called, Yasuke, named after him. But the show is not what you would think it would be. And that's kind of my and a lot of people's biggest gripe with the show. Personally, it's a solid like 5 for me, maybe 5.5. I don't think it's very good. I think that it has some great elements, but it kind of just doesn't take them far enough. And it doesn't focus on the titular character at all. And it gives you little snippets of his backstory, which are super interesting. And then they cut away and you never see any more of it. And it's like, bruh, that was interesting. That's what I want to see. I want to learn when you hear that there was a black samurai in real life in Japan, you want to learn about that story. You want to learn about, even if it's fictitious, even if they add stuff to it, because, of course, all the details aren't known. And even if the action is, played up like a Kurosawa film, that's fine. I still want to know as much as you can tell me about what really happened. But this story is about mechs and magic. And Yasuke taking this magical little girl to be trained by an old acquaintance of Yasuke, and then to go and stop this evil witch down a hill. And it's like, it's weird. It's
in the first few minutes of the first episode, I was like, okay, cool. So this is gonna be a cool opening for we're gonna see Yasuke do some cool stuff. And I just see magic and sorcerers and like giant mech robots that were, for some reason, I don't understand why every anime animates mech robots and like the weird 3D animation that does not fit the style of animation they're going for at all.
Well, I mean, the reason is obvious. They're machines, and machines are complicated to animate, so it's easy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
for me,
it's very obvious that like that's not.
Yeah, there are a lot of cases of like, for example, Gundam. They've been doing it for years. Naturally, they've gotten good at it because they've been doing it for so long. Right. And the studio that animated this, MAPPA, they're good at it too. I've talked about it before. Dorohedoro is one of the most beautiful 3D anime I've ever seen in my life. Dorohedoro looks beautiful. Granted, the director, the animation director on Dorohedoro naturally isn't working on this. He's an assistant director on Attack on Titan, or co-director on Attack on Titan season 4, the final season. So he's not here. So the person that one of the people at least who worked on the animation team and made that 3D animation so beautiful isn't on this team, and because of that, the 3D animation is a bit lacking. Also, MAPPA is one of the biggest offenders of essentially crunch and overworking their animators. That's a thing that's been known to happen in Japan. People in Japan work themselves to death. It's horrible. But, especially happens with animators. And MAPPA used to actually be pretty good in comparison to most studios. They used to make 2 to 3 high quality shows a year. But in 2016, their founder, Masao Maruyama, anybody watching this could correct me if I pronounce that wrong, but he left the studio, someone else took over, and in 2020 they made 8 shows. A lot, exactly. They went from 3 shows a year to 8. Ridiculous.
3 shows a year, I'm not gonna lie, sounds like pushing it.
And like, it shows, because the animation in Yasuke isn't very good. It's not the best. There's one really good fight, and it is again in a flashback, and it's when that lady.
Again, I only finished the first episode. I don't have strong enough of an opinion.
It's when a lady in his past is like sparring with someone, and it's a really good sword fight. They're using wooden swords. It's great. It's the most beautifully animated fight in that show. But other than that, animation's not the best, especially with the sword fights. It was just really disappointing. I watched through all of it. It's only 6 episodes, 30-minute episodes, so it was easy to run through it because it's super short. But it hurt to watch.
I do know that they're doing a live action movie for Yasuke,
Man,
which
I would hope that one doesn't have mechs.
yeah, I'm hoping that's gonna be better. It's sad. Chadwick Boseman was supposed to play Yasuke in that. That is, of course, very sad. I just really hope that that's better. I've always like really been a fan of like the whole Yasuke story. I have a book actually in my room. I can go get it, but I'm trying not to run off camera. In my book or in my room about Yasuke. That's when I first found out about it. I don't know if you remember Miss Frederick, but Miss Frederick told me about it, and she was like, "Yeah, I have a book about it." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And Miss Frederick, if you're watching this, I still haven't given you the book back. I'm sorry. I will. I promise. But she let me borrow the book. The book, and it like the story is really good. Like I was really none of the trailers had, at least none of the trailers I saw for the anime had like mechs, and the magic in the trailers was like very like toned down. So I thought it was gonna be like semi-realistic. I thought it was gonna be like something like Samurai Champloo, where like there's like one supernatural character in Samurai Champloo and he dies the same episode that he's in. So I'm like
the way Samurai Champloo incorporates kind of things that weren't there at the time is they mix tons of hip hop influence all throughout the show. And in the music, and one of the main characters, Mugen, literally break dances when he fights. There's a whole episode about spray painting and graffiti. It's definitely a bunch of hip hop influences, and it's hard
my favorite anime.
Yeah, it's hard not to compare this to Samurai Champloo because they use
anime.
They use lo-fi hip hop, and it's samurai anime. Plus, there's another anime that's much better than this that also has mechs in it. that was based off of Yasuke, and that's Afro Samurai. Afro Samurai was based off of Yasuke. It has mechs.
I completely forgot about Afro Samurai.
Is amazing.
Now I have to reevaluate my favorite anime list because Afro Samurai has always been up there. I just keep forgetting it exists until I see something about it. I'm like, I want to go rewatch it. Yeah, I just keep forgetting it exists, but it's always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, it just, it hurt. It hurt to see this story pretty much just muddled with a bunch of unnecessary additions, like magic, like this little girl, like not necessarily little girl, but just magic and mechs. Magic and mechs just didn't need to be there. And also I wanted to learn about Yasuke, not this little girl, not magic, not a witch. I wanted to learn about him and his struggles being a Black man in Japan. And they got into that in the flashbacks, and that's all. And they barely showed any of it. It was crazy, man. I
gotta say, the first episode when it was he was trying to escape with the mom and the daughter, and like they froze the river, and the guy in the robot suit was like, he is Black. I'm not gonna lie, I died because I was like, that's like what? And I mean, they had like a Russian, they had like 3 white people and another Black dude in there, and they were like, he's Black. Like none of you guys look like you belong here. Like don't start now.
It was weird.
The first episode was very weird. I enjoyed it, but I mean, again, I'm not far enough in to like really make a concrete opinion about it. But
yeah, you compared it to Mortal Kombat and said this feels like Mortal Kombat, and
I was like, it feels like Mortal Kombat. Like off rip, it felt like Mortal Kombat.
Like I'm just thinking about how dope it would have been if Sub-Zero came and froze a lake and then fought somebody on top of it. That would have been cool.
That'd have been cool.
But before we go on,
maybe I did get into I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
I mean, I was just about to change to something else. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I might have gotten to the second episode because I remember seeing the fight where Yasuke kills the ninja or the shinobi in the snowy place. I don't think that was in the first episode. I think that was in the second episode. I like that fight scene. That was cool to me. I was like, that was clean. But I think that's really, I guarantee you that was the third episode.
Yeah, that was another episode that took place in the past. That was really interesting, and what was happening was super cool and a little bit more grounded than mechs and magic. And
it was much more grounded than mechs and magic. It was just a ninja and a samurai fighting. Like, it was much more grounded.
And I wish that was all the show was. I wish it was ninjas and samurai fighting. Have you ever seen Ninja Scroll?
No, that sounds familiar, but like
you should watch Ninja Scroll. If I'm not mistaken, Madhouse actually also animated Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll is it's an anime movie from the 90s about ninjas.
1993.
It's really good. It's just beautifully animated as well.
I'm gonna have to watch this. I'm gonna have to watch this. I'm looking at like the
It's called
little
Blue.
Google images.
I'll check. Yeah, it's definitely made by Madhouse, animated by Madhouse.